What's up, fitness family? Welcome to another episode of the True Fitness Podcast. I'm your host and founder, Adrian Conway. You can call me Coach Conway. I'm going through over some time now. I've got a lot of this engagement, which is wonderful. I'm asking for more. Keep asking your questions, post them to the comments below. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I'm a little bit new here and late, but it turns out we're getting some good momentum through the subscribers. So please subscribe so that you can stay in tune with what we have going on at True Fitness. And of course, when these episodes are dropping, so you know when to ask questions. And of course, when I'm responding to your own. Today, the question that I'm responding to is in lieu of this. From at Larry Young 2743, it reads, Adrian, you're such a great speaker and so crazy knowledgeable. Larry, I'll send you that check that I promised you for writing this comment here in just a couple minutes. But I'm so curious, do you ever tell your athletes things that maybe everyone in the space doesn't agree with? I feel like you are deliberately careful in the information you share to limit it being controversial or up for debate. Ooh-wee. Larry, I appreciate you coming at me with this question, bro, and I appreciate your directness. Here's what I want to say to help bring some light to this. I avoid controversial topics and things that are called dogma in regards to information and the delivery, because to me, it's kind of trashy. Now, I want to help you understand this too. When it comes to clickbait, when it comes to leads, when it comes to this space right here that a lot of you are consuming the content that I produce, my content is a lot of gray. And the reason it's a lot of gray is because it's a lot of right. And there's people that come from the left and the right. And I don't mean physically the right, but listen, left and right perspectives, I'm in the middle. Black and white perspectives, I'm a lot of gray. The reason isn't because I choose to selectively talk about things in public that I talk about differently in private. The reason isn't because I'm looking for ways to nuance myself into a space with polarizing perspectives. I just believe that most polarizing perspectives are wrong. And I'm 39 years old, so I got a long ways to go, hopefully. But I've been coaching since I was basically 19 years old. It's the only profession that I've ever known. And so I've seen so much fad stuff. I've seen the all meats. I've seen the all plants. I've seen the only lift heavy. I've seen the only lift light and fast. I've only seen the linear progressions. I've seen all the constant variants. I've seen all the things from P90X to Tybo to the things that you strap onto your abdominals and do the pumping thing to people trying to give their athletes IVs at the CrossFit Games because we thought that was the best source of carbohydrate immediately for them. Like, I've seen it all, man, in this perspective. And so what I do, Larry, is I stay true to myself. And the reason I stay true to myself and try not to chase anything that's being very polarizing at the time is because often what stands the test of time and stands the data of large groups and large application is the stuff that's always been in the middle, right? Now, I don't want you to think that I'm being strategic in the way that I even present this. I'm literally just, I read this question, I was online, so I wanted to pop in and get this done. But this quote came to my mind. In fact, it's really ironic because I never thought of this on my own. I had a client who I'm excited to be helping on a particular journey. There's depth, what's being pursued here that is a bit outside of himself. And I bring up this client because they told me on a call that they were really drawn to me because they'd followed me for years. This wasn't about something that I created because I had, I was paying the best lead ads, or because I had this really catchy video on YouTube, or because I had this really catchy thing, or because I talk in such audacious ways. Now, I try to deliver information very clear and concisely. As a good leader, something that I have a strong conviction about that is, if I'm communicating something and you don't understand it, it's a me problem. If I'm communicating something to one of my children and they can't follow my direction, or they don't understand data, what I'm trying to say, if I'm communicating to a player on a team that I coach, if I'm in a strength conditioning facility with 70 athletes and they have a hard time hearing me, if I'm in a seminar and I'm going over an aspect and you struggle to understand and need more clarity, that is a me problem. If I'm communicating with my wife on a one-to-one level, I'm trying to share with her something on my heart or my mind, or maybe some kind of suggestion of the way that we're treating our son, or the things that we're letting our daughter get away with or not get away with, or maybe where we need to loosen up some of the restrictions or tighten them down, right? When we're having hard conversations, because we're leading this ship here. If she doesn't understand me, it's a me problem. I say all of that, Larry, to lean into the fact that I do try to be a good communicator. And I'm very grateful that you acknowledge that about me. I do my best to do that. Everything that I deliver is often off the cuff. Everything that you see from me, I don't like to rehearse. I don't like to script. I don't like to practice because I feel like it lacks authenticity. And that is something that when it's taken from me, I feel like I'm being handicapped or I feel like I'm being caged in. So it's funny, even when I get on broadcast, what I don't enjoy the most is practice reps. And in fact, when I do practice reps, and you can ask people that I get to work with, I try to make my practice reps different from my real reps because I still feel the need to give you the energy and authenticity that is in my heart and soul. It can't be rehearsed. It just can't be. I certainly need to know where we're going next and what's coming up and who's handing me the tea and an idea of what I'm going to cover here. But I don't want to say exactly what I'm going to say because that's contrived and I don't like it. And there are a lot of people good at being contrived and I don't like it. I feel like it's not genuine. So Larry, again, no offense to anything that you're sharing, but I also want to bring some context to it. Back to this client that shared with me this really cool statement on the phone was that it wasn't anything that I'd done one particular time. It was a lifetime of touches with me. It was the way that I express myself. And more specifically, it was the ideas that I present about training, about nutrition, and about lifestyle. It was that they saw in me that I cared less about being right and I cared more about what was right. What this means about a good coach and a good leader. And this is why people that are trying to sell products, that are people trying to do whatever, and all they want to do is be right. All they want to do is be right so they can sell a thing. All they want to do is be right so you go to them. All they want to do is be right so it's their face. All they want to do is be right so it's their voice. And in our community, specifically with CrossFit, we need to make sure that everyone who has stake in this community, everyone who's driving it forward cares more about what is right than they care about being right. And I think some of the loudest voices in the space care more about being right than actually what is right. And it disheartens me. But I think that's also where you have the platform and perspective to even ask me this directly. But the answer to you directly is no. I don't tell my athletes anything that I don't publicly share or that would be against, a hard saying. For example, like here's one. I talk about eat meats and veggies, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar because I believe that that's the way to fuel all humans, right? Now, no sugar means contextually no sugar on a regular basis. If you can live by this with 80-20, you're going to nail it and do a great job with your future, your family's future, and your health and your performance. However, Larry, I'm telling you, you need to follow it 80-20, no sugar. I am telling my athlete who trains 3.5 hours a day, in which I design the programs for, that has the fitness level of one of the top 1% in the world, that is going to go to the fittest experience and the NorCal Classic and all that. I'm telling these athletes that if they're a male, they're probably somewhere consuming 500 plus carbohydrates every day on a regular basis. They're eating gummies in the middle of the gym. They're contextually eating Snickers bars when they have trouble getting in the surplus of calories in which they need when they're on the C2 bike, accumulating 90 minutes of zone 2 after they did another thing in the morning. So context is important, and I deliver it directly with every person that I work with in every way. And I am very straightforward all the time, but I hope that doesn't confuse you on like, I am telling my elite athletes something different than I'm telling my lifestyle clients because they don't need the same information. Equally, I'm telling my lifestyle clients to their face, hey, you're not him. Don't try to be him. This will make you fat because you're not in shape. And also you're not as fit. So that most people in our space are very much like that. And they want to be right versus actually going after what is right. And unfortunately, to wrap all this up, the way I do things doesn't make me millions of dollars overnight, doesn't get me hundreds of thousands of followers overnight, because you see, I don't try to do that. I'm just speaking to you truth so that you can enhance your lifestyle, so that my athletes can enhance their performance, so that, fathers can be better leaders and servants to their wives, so that wives can feel like they're confident in themselves and can prepare a lifestyle for their families if that's their role, to serve them at the highest level. Like, I care about the results that you get as a listener and a hearer of me. I take responsibility for that. And what that means is that, the Bible tells us if we stick to our word and our doctrine, if we mind those things, right? God's word, our doctrine, the way that we live our lives, if we're living examples of things like the fruits of the Spirit, right? If I can be joyful, if I can be patient, if I can be self-disciplined, if I can be all of these things, then the people around me will also soak that in. They'll take in a little bit of that in. And that's what I want from me as a fitness coach, as a performance coach, as a lifestyle coach, as a leader of men. I want you to take from me that it doesn't have to be all the way over here and all the way over here. And in fact, most of the time, these people have alternative intentions or misunderstandings. Or, unfortunately, for most of these people, they ain't thinking it all the way through. They think because it's worked for them for 30 days. They think because it's worked for them for 30 months. They think, I'm sorry, not 30 months, but 3 months. They think because they are unique and have a unique DNA, which they do. They think it's information that they should share with everybody. They think they have the audacity. They think they have the platform because of social media. They think that they have the credentials because they don't. They think all these things. And a lot of it's just not true. So, Larry, I really appreciate you asking this question. And people, I hope that this helped create some clarity. Shout out to the person that brought this up for me and seeing this in me, because it was a real light to my heart, to be quite honest with you. And it's something that I want to even draw a firmer line about my character in regards to the way that I am in perpetuity. So I hope this is something that we all go for, someone that cares more about what is right over being right. Keep rising.